Stars, I'm a fool for your love.
Hello and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and welcome back to this piloting series, The Road to Flying, brought to you by me, BVI SimPilot. Now in today's video we're going to be taking a look at how to set up for your first flight. Now in the first two episodes of this series we checked out all the menus and all the things that are included with Microsoft Flight Simulator when you purchase it. And then we also checked out all of the settings to get Microsoft Flight Sim to look as good as possible and also make it easy to use depending on how experienced you are at flying. So we're here today for episode 3 of this series, and like I said, in today's video we're going to be checking out how to set up for your first flight. So we're starting off here right at the main menu, and the first thing to do is to click on the world map. Now this was the only section that we didn't check out in the past two videos. So as you can see, it brings you here to what almost looks like Google Earth, and this is where you're going to select all the things such as the airports or places you want to fly to, the aircraft you want to fly with, and all the weather settings and things like that. So we're going to start from the top left corner and work our way around. So starting in the top left corner we have the aircraft selection menu. Now this is where you're going to select the aircraft that you want to fly, whether that be the default aircraft that come with the sim or any aircraft that you've downloaded and installed. There are quite a few to choose from, ranging from airliners to general aviation aircraft to gliders and helicopters, so it is quite a big list, but once you've found one that you like you can just click on it to select it. Then on the left you have some different menus. We have the aircraft selection, which is what we're in right now. Then you have the livery section, so here you can choose the livery of your aircraft, basically the paint job, so what it's going to look like on the outside. Then you have the weight and balance section, so here you can adjust the settings to do with how much fuel you have in the aircraft, how much weight there is, including passengers and cargo, and then you can also adjust the center of gravity as well. However, if you don't really know what you're doing, then just leave these to their default settings, at least for your first few flights. Then we have the failures section, so this is where you can turn on failures to do with the engines and the aircraft systems. However, it's not all too good, and there are third-party add-ons that you can download which include more realistic failures, so I would recommend using those instead. And then finally, the customization tab. Here you can change things such as your ATC call sign, the tail number on the back of your aircraft. You can also change the wear and tear of the aircraft depending on if you want to fly the aircraft where it's effectively brand new, or if it's an older aircraft that's been used for many years, which would have obviously more wear and tear on it. And then you have a few other settings like that. Then back on the main page and moving down we have a search bar where you can search for things such as airports, cities, and you can even search for GPS coordinates. For example, here searching up London Gatwick, then when you press enter it will take you all the way to London Gatwick. So when zoomed in on an airport there will be satellite imagery in the background, as you can see, and it usually just takes a couple seconds to load depending on your internet connection. Once zoomed in on an airport you can also select a parking stand to start from or a runway using the little white dots. Then you just click one and you can select it as the departure or even as the arrival. Then at the top there is a drop down menu where you can select an airport or a point of interest that you've searched up before. So the first box is used for the departure point. The box underneath that is to select the gate or runway you want to start from, and similarly on the right it's the same story but just for the arrival location instead. Now once you've selected both, it will put it into a flight plan just like you're seeing now, and will put in any waypoints as necessary. You can also add custom waypoints just by clicking a random spot on the map and then clicking add, and you can see that it will amend the flight plan and draw the route in, and you can add as many as you want. Then moving on to the flight conditions. So on the left you can see we have a few different options. Starting at the top we have the multiplayer settings. So we have live players, all players, and off/group only. So this is talking about the online functionality of the multiplayer settings. So live players will display all the people who are using Microsoft Flight Sim and are connected online, but it will only use the live weather settings. Now all players is pretty much the exact same thing, however you can choose your own custom weather and change it around depending on what kind of weather you want to fly in. And then finally the off/group only settings, basically it's to turn multiplayer off, or you can add friends to a group and just fly with them. So if we come back to the main menu and go to the top, you can see right at the top there you can invite a friend to a group, and so this is the setting you'd select if you just wanted to fly with a couple people. Then the air traffic settings, you either have the live air traffic, which will follow real world flights that are happening around the world, or you have the AI traffic, which will just import some AI aircraft to fly a preset route. Now, like I mentioned in the last video, I have installed a third-party add-on to install live traffic into the sim, which works way better than either of these. I have put a link in the description as well. Then moving on to weather and time. Live weather will lock you to the live weather of wherever you are flying at, meaning the time, temperature, the clouds, the wind, and everything will be exactly like it is in real life. Then weather presets. You have a bunch of different presets that you can select. A lot of these that I've got here are actually from add-ons that I've installed, but you can get a bunch of different things ranging from cold and rainy to sunny weather to hurricanes and even wildfires. And then finally you have the custom option where you can create your own presets and adjust the parameters of all the clouds, the visibility, the wind, and a bunch of other options. Then the slider down here in the bottom left corner, you can use this to adjust the time of day, whether you want to fly at nighttime or sunrise, and you can adjust it to the exact minute that you want. Then the nav log here up in the top right corner shows you the vertical positioning of your flight, so the altitude at each waypoint that you've got, and in the top right corner here you can see you can select a cruising altitude, which is basically the maximum height that you'll fly at in your flight plan. Then at the bottom of your screen you have a variety of filters to add waypoints and some weather features and stuff like that, but you don't really need to worry about them. Then after you've done all that and you've got your route with your departure and arrival airport in, and you've selected the aircraft you want to fly, then you can go ahead and click the fly button in the bottom right corner, and then it will load you into your aircraft at your departure point. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, then please don't forget to like and subscribe, and finally turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Now, next episode we're going to be checking out how you can set up all your controls and peripherals, so make sure you don't miss that video when it comes out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.